Senator from Alabama.
Madam President, as has been discussed by my distinguished colleagues, in May of 2022, the Mexican military forcibly shut down Vulcan Materials Company's operations. Almost a year later, military police came in, military of our supposed ally. They breached and seized Vulcan's port facility at gunpoint. That's right. Instead of using its armed forces to confiscate the fentanyl killing hundreds of American citizens every single day, the Mexican military, under the directive of their former president, confiscated a port rightfully owned by an American company, an Alabama company. Instead of going after the cartels, our neighbor went after law-abiding Americans. Radical leftist Andre Manuel Lopez Obrador seized Vulcan's operations and property. Make no mistake, that action was illegal under both Mexican and international law. And it's unacceptable that Mexico's new president seems to be carrying the water for him. She said absolutely nothing except for that she's going to continue she is going to continue Lopez Obrador's unlawful seizure of an American company, and she stands with him. Time and time again over the past 4 years, bad actors across the globe have poked and prodded at the United States because they saw weakness in the White House. They saw they could do it and get away with it. And when they did, without even the slightest bit of response, let alone without consequences, they just kept doing it. Unfortunately, we learned from the Wall Street Journal's recently published editorial citing sources stating that this administration, the Biden administration, has undergone last-minute backroom negotiations on the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. The changes, the Journal reported, would rob American companies like Vulcan of the protections they've relied on when investing in partner countries. The protections that would have prevented those partner countries from seizing, for example, operations centers or port facilities. The Biden administration and its U.S. trade representatives are actively undermining American interest. They're leaving American companies out in the cold without consulting Congress, preventing us from exercising our constitutional duty to provide oversight on trade. The Biden administration's actions should be a front-page story in every newspaper across this nation. The idea that a sitting president and/or his administration would be working against the interest of the country and/or the people that he was elected to serve is absolutely unacceptable. While we wait for January 20th, I am proud in the interim to support proudly Senator Bill Hagerty's piece of legislation. It's called Defending American Property Abroad Act. I join this quickly alongside Senators Barrasso, Budd, Kane, and Tuberville and Wicker. It would prohibit the Mexican government from profiting from its unlawful seizures of Vulcan property and port facility. No vessel that is used, a port, land, or infrastructure illegally seized from an American entity would be allowed entry into a U.S. port. And should the Mexican government attempt to violate the law, it would be met with crushing consequences. The U.S. can no longer stand by as its companies are terrorized by foreign governments. We will not sit back and watch as our own government allows our interest around the world in our own hemisphere to come under attack. And we will not be afraid of protecting our own citizens and their interest. This past November, the American people did not choose decline. We choose renewal. We must begin to reassert ourselves and make sure that no country, not Mexico, not anyone else, can get away with the seizures like the one that the Mexican government carried out against Vulcans. American interest, American families, American values, American securities must come first. I yield the floor.